Hi folks, welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. Well, we got a good bit of rain yesterday here. Pretty soggy out right now, very foggy. It is supposed to warm up. They were originally calling for this coming weekend a good bit of snow, but they've taken that out of the forecast now. It is supposed to be cold, but not probably looking at much of any snow. So far we've just had a very light dusting here, but it's a coming because it's the Ozarks, and we're probably going to eventually get some. Boy, a lot of stuff going on in the news, and people are starting to really clamor around this whole drone thing that's going on, and it's growing. It's in multiple states. I know a big focus is on New Jersey. It seems apparently that's kind of where it started, and that's kind of where the bulk of it is. But there are numerous reports, and some can be pretty verified reports of drone, UAV, whatever type sightings all over the United States and in other countries. And I know that some of these videos that get shared around are probably faked, or there may be airplanes or whatever. There's enough of the reports that are, like I said, are pretty verifiable that it's hard to discount that. And the fact that governments from the local level on up are paying attention to this, and they're asking questions. Just in the last couple of days, it's definitely gone full mainstream. There's been numerous mainstream news outlets talking about this, ABC, CNN, all these kind of the whole alphabet soup of them. And then some of the more secondary, News Nation and stuff like that are doing reports. Lots of local sheriffs and local state senators and state congressmen and U.S. congressmen, the White House, the Pentagon, everybody's talking about this. And no one seems to have any definitive answers of what's going on. But there's a whole lot of theory out there on what's going on. And I'll be honest with you, I don't know. Don't ask me. I can give you some ideas, but I can tell you that definitely something's happening. What I do believe, because based on what has become kind of the mainstream theory of what's going on, seems to be that these are radiological sniffing drones. They send these drones up if there's some type of dirty bomb, radiological attack or something like that, and they can send these drones up and they can sniff it out and find out what's going on. That seems to be right now kind of the most mainstream possibility of what's going on. But I have a problem with that, and the problem is that this has been happening for weeks, and now it's become mainstream. Now it's become very widely well known. Why don't they just come out and say, this is what's happened? It doesn't make sense that they would be sending these drones up all over the place for weeks at a time if they're trying to figure out if there was some type of dirty bomb or radiological spill. It should not take them that long to do that. So I don't personally think that that's probably the option. The other one is that these are, of course, very top secret spying type of drones that the government doesn't want to admit that they have. Okay, but now again, the cat's out of the bag. Everybody knows that it's going on. Either come up with some ridiculous lie or tell the truth with this thing of like, oh, we don't know. That doesn't hold water for me either. I think there's part of it is a big distraction. You have to remember, when these kind of events happen, they can have multiple purposes, not just one. I think it could be a big distraction, and it's doing that. I mean, a lot of people are distracted, focused on this stuff right now. I think it's also could be somehow twisted as a precursor to some type of big war or attack, whether here in the United States or overseas. That seems to be a more likely possibility. I don't know. I know as far as the distraction, there are a lot of things going on. This H5N1 is really starting to take off. They've now found it in 11 states, wastewater testing. Over the weekend, there were several new human cases of it, several cases in different livestock and poultry all around the United States and really around the world. The governor of Iowa has declared a partial state of emergency because of the amount of it in poultry flocks, that they've had to euthanize hundreds of thousands of chickens. There's reports out of China. Of course, this is China, so it's very difficult to verify if there's any truth to this at all. But there's reports out of China that they found birds in a market. I know this sounds so similar to COVID, but they found poultry being sold in a market that had H5N1, but that they had a mutated receptor, making it really easy for humans to now get it and pass it around. Basically, that missing link that's been talked about, that yes, humans can get it, but it's difficult, and there needs to be like one more mutation before it's now easily spreadable in the human population. And apparently China says that they have found chickens infected with it that have that mutated receptor. That's pretty big if there's any truth to it all. And even if it's not true, if they're just saying that to cover for, a bioweapon that's being spread by drones, it still lets you know. I've seen a few people say that, there's nothing to the drones, that's a distraction. Ignore that. The H5N1, it's all faked. It's all faked. I don't doubt that. I mean, I have no proof either way, but I would not doubt it. But if they're going to the links that they are to fake something like this, remember COVID. That in itself is a very big danger. Even if there is no actual thing out there that's infecting people and infecting animals, the fact that they're going to these great lengths show that they have some kind of, motive in mind. There's been wildlife in Montana, North Dakota, Missouri, Louisiana, Arizona, all become infected and die. Various different types of animal species. It seems to be extremely deadly in cats so far, from what I have read. Virtually every house cat that has contracted this has died. So there's a lot there going on. On the war front, there's a lot of stuff going on the war front. Things are seeming to build and build and build in Russia. Israel made some airstrikes against Hezbollah in Lebanon. Is that completely breaking the ceasefire? Who knows? Of course, stuff typically and still going on in Syria. And then the United States has been, making airstrikes in Syria and in Yemen. So there's a lot of stuff going on there. And I guess going back to the original subject, the drones, where does that fit in? Is this Project Bluebeam? Are they trying to, set the stage for some type of big, ridiculous disclosure of whether it's aliens or, high technology or just an invasion? I don't know. But there's a lot of stuff going on, and whether it's just simply a distraction or not, I think we should be on our toes right now, because there's too much weird stuff going on. I mean, it could end up being a very simple answer, but at this point, because of the length of time that this has happened, the amount, there's news reports, interviews. If you follow me over on Locals, I've been posting as much of that stuff I can on there. Actual mainstream news interviews with local county sheriffs and state officials talking about how they're watching dozens of these drones come up out of the ocean and fly around and then leave, and how they send up one of their own really high-tech drones that the state has, and they weren't able to keep track of it. They weren't able to keep up with it. It had no heat signature, all of these, and they said they're just completely puzzled of what these are, where they're coming from, how they just appear and then disappear. So there's a lot of stuff going on there, and this could be the precursor to some big disclosure, to some big war event, to something, because you can't, it's getting to the point now that I don't think you can just discount this as just nothing. There's definitely something going on. And with all of these other events that it could be, distracting from, or that it could be leading us into, I would highly recommend everyone kind of be on their toes for a while. Now, that doesn't mean that your life has to stop existing. It doesn't mean that you become obsessed with it or that you fall into a state of panic and fear. It just means that you, in your mind and in your life, you kind of go over the things that you know you need. If you typically, in part of your plan, keep your water jugs and things filled up and topped off, make sure you're doing that. Your fuel cans, your fuel in your vehicles, food, ammunition, making sure batteries are charged. I would be ready over the next, say, 4 weeks for just something really strange and big to happen. Even though it may not specifically and directly affect you in that moment, it doesn't hurt to be on edge, to be kind of prepared for something to happen. I mean, I know that's a state that we should already be in, but I think you understand that when you have a good idea that something's about ready to happen, you kind of step it up a level. And so I would highly recommend that you do that. Again, I'm not asking or suggesting that you alter your lifestyle so much that it becomes, a great burden, but I would definitely be kind of keeping yourself, a little bit more alert to what's going on, because this is becoming quite strange, and no one's given any good answers. I mean, there's answers out there, and there's people that have, hypothesized and, oh, well, I know a somebody that knows a somebody that works at this government, and they know this, and they know, but nothing that makes complete sense, nothing that can be verified. And so at this point, the honest answer is we don't know anything. We have a lot of theories, but we don't know anything. And because it's becoming such a big deal, and there's so many other events happening, along with an inauguration coming up in a little over 4 weeks, we should definitely be, staying quite alert right now. I mean, if something changes, I will let you know. I'll tell you, again, I've been posting a lot of updates over on locals, and who knows? Again, it could end up being something silly, but I'm thinking we're kind of beyond the point, past that point of it being that, and something else quite nefarious is going on. Folks, it's time to get your houses in order and prepare yourselves mentally, physically, and spiritually. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.